Yo, yo.
Scooty family, this is JsGrassFedGarden live presentation. People might be at work. I might not have done the best job of getting the word out, but gonna wait here like 10 minutes or something. Feel free to hang out. Just got some instrumentals going. The J Dilla. And if nobody shows, then I'm just gonna do the presentation for the live YouTube. I have the space for the next 2 hours, so I'm gonna take advantage of it. 2 people coming in, cool. Thanks everyone for coming through. Just waiting for some people to get here. And we got the J Dilla going. Got my table set up. Some tie-dye tapestry that I always put on my table at the market. Got the scythe. Got some good informational things. The high mowing seed catalog, Wood Prairie Family Farm seed catalog, the scythe book, the soil test report, and the flyer. But like I said, it might not have. People are probably busy with work and children or life. Maybe they just slipped their mind. But that's okay. We're just gonna hang out here for a good 10 to 15 minutes. And yeah, feel free to hang out. Feel free to come back. Yup. Just kind of thinking I just kind of want to do this. Just put on the live and listen to some instrumentals. Always wanted to be a DJ. I'm happy with how the PowerPoint came out though, so I don't know how exactly long it's gonna take, maybe 10, 20 minutes. To get through. I don't know. Not feeling that beat. Who's here right now? We got Dave and who else? What's going on?
Not much, you
Just,
waiting for somebody to show up.
yeah. I got my little YouTube thing going over here. So,
I figured I'd come down,
yeah.
see
Oh.
what it's all about.
Yeah. Oh, were you just joking when I asked you
No.
up there?
I said I'll go down,
Oh, okay.
since nobody's down here.
Cool. Yeah, well maybe I'll just run it for you then, and the one other homie I got. If somebody comes, I don't care, I could restart, but yeah. So we got, what are the benefits of the grass-fed garden? Explained in detail. So I'm a farmer in Bennington, Vermont, and just started gardening for myself like in 2021, and started doing the farmers markets last year. And this is my second year doing the farmers markets, third year growing food, and I learned this system called the grass-fed garden, and it was from my mentor, virtual mentor. I've never met him in person. His name is Jim Kovaleski, and he mows 15 acres of pasture with this tool right here, and it really inspired me to take on those practices.
Yep.
And so I have, this is kind of how I set up my table at the market and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's never really enough time to like kind of talk to people, and so I wanted to just like come up with a presentation to explain it more. So we got
Sigh. Yep.
farm history. So the farm history went from a red potato farm to a cow farm, and then it was bush hogged. Do you know what bush hogging is?
Yes.
Yeah. So bush hogging, and then it was also hayed. And now it's been a mowed lawn for 20 plus years. It's actually 30 plus. And wow, that's a lot of compaction steadily over a long period of time. So how can we create a productive garden without tilling the soil? Find out soon. Nature creates inputs for us. So we got grass, unsprayed round bales of hay, wood chips, compost, which could just be made from food scraps or aged manure, leaves, any organic matter, leaves. Use what's available to you. By committing your garden to natural inputs / the grass-fed system, you no longer will be spending money on man-made inputs, fertilizers, chemicals.
Yeah.
So the idea is that by using the grass, that is the #1 source of nutrition for the garden. Sorry, I'll take a sip of water here.
Yeah.
So by using grass or whatever you have available to you, wood chips, compost, leaves, by using the grass as my #1 source of fertility, I'm not dependent upon outside inputs, and we'll get there. So we'll leave it at that for now. So that is true regenerative farming, not reliant upon outside inputs. And a lot of people try to use newspaper, cardboard. Newspaper and cardboard are a lot of times filled with chemicals, and it's best to go with what nature creates for us. Let's try to move away from that black plastic mulch, and here's why. Microplastics. Why we should do our best to move away from any plastic in the garden. And I have an article right here. I could click on it and read a little deeper, but just a quote from the garden, from the article is, we can stop looking now said Horton, who studies microplastic pollution at the UK's National Oceanography Center. We know wherever we look, we will find them. So they're saying that on average, we consume a credit card's worth of microplastics every week through the food, the air, the soil. So if that's already a thing, we want to do our best. Why would we want to have black plastic on top of the soil to suppress weeds and heat up the soil? So moving forward, a alternative to starting your seeds in cell trays, plastic cell trays, is called soil blocks. So got this quick little.
Make sure that there's plenty of nitrogen to get these little plants off to a good start. Again, 2 tablespoonfuls. I put them in at this stage in the process because I want to get them mixed.
Let me bring it back.
To make sure that
So 2 tablespoons of green sand, 2 tablespoons of phosphate rock, and 2 tablespoons of dried blood meal.
there's plenty of nitrogen to get these little plants off to a good start. Again, 2 tablespoonfuls. I put them in at this stage in the process because I want to get them mixed thoroughly with this nice light peat. In that way, I know that when the plant roots are down in here, they will find little bits of things like that in every part of the operation. All right, I have the body, but remember when we were talking about soil, we're talking about aeration, and now I need some aeration for this mix. So the plants, if that gets wet and sodden, don't miss the air. And for that, the best ingredient is perlite. Now, perlite is basically popped rock. In fact, it's a volcanic rock that has water in between its layers. It's heated up and popped, just like popcorn. Gives you a nice, fluffy product that when incorporated with peat in a mix like this, now we have structure and aeration at the same time.
So it was the sands, the rock mineral, and then now we added peat moss, and then the not vermiculite.
And the last thing we're going to add, and the thing that always makes everything grow better naturally,
Perlite
is compost.
And then compost.
Right out of the garden, last fall, we saved it, sifted it so it's about as nice as could be, and I'm going to put in 3 containers of compost. Now, there's the formula. 3 containers and 3 containers of compost. And now when I mix all of this together, I have paradise for plants. Now, if you thought this looked like a cooking show so far, I'm going to make something like brownie mix here. I'm going to add water, quite a lot of water, to this beautiful potting mix I made. And I want to get it good and wet so it's almost sticky, not dripping water, but wet enough so I can do something with it that is really pretty unconventional in most people's gardening experience. I'm going to make a soil block out of it. In other words, I'm going to turn this.
When I first saw this,
cube of soil,
it blew my mind. Like, to be completely honest with you, I don't know if you're feeling the same hypeness on
this
it.
celery
But
plant is growing in a soil block, and the soil block is made by using a simple tool like this block maker. It's just an ejection mold. I press this into it, push hard down to the bottom, and then eject them. And there I have perfect little cubes of potting soil, not needing any walls, in which plants can grow. What are the advantages? Well, you notice it has a little indentation in the top in which I put the seed. The walls, without any container around them, have air pruning on all sides where they're next to the others, and the roots of the plants in there grow to the edge and wait, and then they're ready to take off when they go in the ground. Now, celery grows quite slowly, so I wouldn't want to start celery in a block this big because I would have a lot of these big blocks hanging around, taking up a lot of room. So there's other techniques, even more fun. This is a soil block maker that makes 20 tiny little blocks. Press this in, put it here, and I have 20 tiny little blocks with an indentation in top.
Boom. So, and then you move the small one up to the big one after like 10 days.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a game changer. And with the grass-fed system, it makes it easier when you have a start plant to just put directly in the soil rather than direct sowing it. I love direct sowing personally, but it takes so much longer. And this year I've really finally started doing exactly that, is, you know, starting everything from soil blocks, everything that I can, at a limited space in my apartment. And when you just put, you know, my mentor says this, but when you put a healthy plant in healthy soil, it's just ready to rock. So thanks, Elliot Coleman, for inspiring many. So why keep the soil covered? And this is, you know, one of the foundations of my motto. The soil is able to retain / absorb moisture better than if the soil was left bare / helps to prevent erosion / able to better filter chemicals. Helps to keep down / suppress weeds. Weed seeds germinate, then die, because they can't, you know, make it through the grass. The only reason weeds grow is because the soil wants to naturally be covered. So everybody, you know, the field gets left bare, the garden gets left bare, and you spend your whole day pulling weeds. It's because the sun hits the soil, and then whatever weed seeds are in the bank germinate, and then, you know, those weeds end up going to seed, then you're just gonna have more next year. So if we just keep it covered in the first place, and it depends on what the weed is, but a lot of the times you can just snip it off instead of pulling it out, leave the root system in the ground, and then just put grass on top of it. So that way you didn't have to even disrupt the soil at all. The soil life seems much happier. Worms and other life forms are most of the time found crawling right under the grass when it's pulled back. Usually no worms or other soil life are visible when the soil is bare. And I mean, you know, go look at a bare soil farm. There's no really creepy crawlers crawling around, not too many worms. And then, like I said, in a mulch system, in a deep mulch system, you're gonna have a whole bunch of soil life just crawling around right when you look down. So it helps to build organic matter, grass, wood chips, manure, cover crops, like I was just talking about, leaving the root systems in the ground instead of pulling them out, and then top dressing with compost. And you're also gonna have all the worm droppings from all the worms just being right in place. Because it's a common misconception that the grass is decomposing, but it's actually that the worms are pulling the grass down through wormholes. They're eating the grass, and then they're fertilizing right in place, right in the growing zone of the plant, so right where you want them. So if you keep it covered, you keep them happy, but if it's bare and more spread out, then they have to go farther to get their food. It is said that the highest concentration of soil life is in the first 2 inches of the soil. So interestingly enough, so are the weed seeds. So when you go to till, you're not only taking out all of the beneficial microbial life that's present, the worms, snakes, whatever else is going on, but you're also bringing up all of the weed seeds that are like dormant in the layer of the soil. So the first 2-inch layer. So I think that that's really, really interesting. There is such a thing as a one-time till for really compacted soil. but there is also other ways. Find out soon. And there was one I missed. I said, so when you do a deep till, you're not only destroying the soil life, you're also bringing up those weed seeds. I said that. It's funny, like I'm saying it, it's like I already know what the next one is before I read it. It's funny. So a visual comparison. Covered soil, we got a cover crop there of some wheat, I believe, and the next one is a beach. Because that's what will literally happen, and I've witnessed it. Like, you know, when you see like just like a gravel driveway and it's just like all sandy. That once used to have the structure of soil, but if it's not covered and it keeps just getting degraded and degraded, doesn't have anything growing in it, it literally breaks down to sand, and then it blows away. So why should we keep records? No 2 years are the same. No two properties/gardens are the same. Find what works best for your land/microclimate. We can't depend on radar and the weather people/sites. I'm led to believe it's in our best interest to be more observant of the ever-changing patterns and document what we think worthy. After a few years, you can start to compare and contrast your own records and move forward based off of them. Try to plant crops on the same day each year or within a few days of what it was the previous year. And that leads into the next slide of saving seed. So by saving seed, buying organic open pollinated seed from good companies. So by saving the seed, you're adapting it to your microclimate and your soil type. But also I think it's of value to try and plant that seed on the same day each year. Or like I said, within a few days of that day you did it the previous year. And I don't know, I just think that has some value, but it won't always work out like that. And there's another thing that I follow, it's called the biodynamic calendar, and I'm gonna get into that. But so saving seed, buying organic open pollinated seed from good companies. We can adapt our plants to the ever-changing patterns by saving our seed each year with all of which you need the correct infrastructure for. It's hard doing this on a apartment scale. With a wet year like this, you get it dried out, then it rains, the seed gets moldy, it's no good. So you really do need like a greenhouse space, a garage, a controlled environment where you can process the seed. With all of the rain we have received this season, over 2 feet at this point, all of the crops that I've saved my own seed from last year, tomatoes, pumpkins, garlic, lettuce, potatoes, those plants are doing the best out of anything. Also, by purchasing from local/regional seed companies, you have a better chance of getting seeds that are already more adapted to your area. So I support high mowing, organic seeds. Not all of their seeds that they sell are grown in Vermont. You know, they have other farms around the country that grow out their seeds for them. But there is a good amount that they sell that is grown right up in Wolcott, Vermont. So that's pretty cool. And the Wood Prairie Family Farm up in Bridgewater, Maine, they have the best organic seed potatoes in the country. It's been proven on a 3-year scientific study. So you gotta go organic and open pollinated seeds, because if it's a hybrid, you won't get that same gene back. It'll be the mother or the father of that one. I believe that's how that works. And I don't even understand how they actually save seed from hybrids. to resell them every year. So that's something I'd like to do more research on. And a open pollinated is an heirloom seed. Like an heirloom has to be open pollinated. But what determines an open heirloom seed is it has to be like 50 to 75 years old.
Yep.
So cattle is not the only herd on the farm. We have the macro herd, which is the cows, sheep, goats, pigs, chickens, horses, whatever else you could think of. And we have the micro herd, which are the worms and the billions of microorganisms that are the life of the soil. So when is Mow Day? Mow Day is on May 15th in Vermont. By getting your first cut of hay / grass at around this time for the pasture to grow up. So May 15th is Mow Day. By getting your first cut of grass at or around this time allows for the pasture to grow up with grass equally as nutritious as the first cut, another 2 or most likely 3 times. And it looks like this year I'm going to get a 4th cut. Most farmers can't start to hay until the fields have dried up a bit from winter moisture and spring rains, or else their tractors will sink, make big ruts. By the time they can start, which is early to mid-June, and really wet years sometimes not until August, late July. By this time the hay is far past its nutritional peak value, and it won't grow up another 2 or 3 times. That's their hay for the year. And in the scythe book, it states one farmer said, it won't make butter, but it'll keep them alive, because it's that low of nutritional value. So what we're doing is, back to the other slide, we're taking that highest nutritional value grass, May 15th, takes about 2 weeks to get the full like half-acre pasture done. Then it allows it to grow up to 3 more times, and instead of feeding that to the micro herd, the cows, sheep, goat, pigs, chickens, horses, we're taking all that grass, using the rotational grazing effect, and we're feeding it straight to the micro herd, the worms and the billions of microorganisms. So the benefits of the European scythe. Scythe, so many people got many different ways of saying it, but however you want to say it, it's a great tool. It doesn't require gas, which means as long as you are alive and well, the scythe is as well. No pollution, easier on wildlife habitat, no motor noise, good skill to have. You can harvest grain with them. It's a multi-purpose tool. They have grass blades, ditch blades, bush blades. It's a handmade tool, and it can bring people together / create community in the way of, maybe your neighbor sees you mowing your pasture with the scythe, and he's like, hey, I'm interested, and then he has a pasture too. He gets a scythe, and then you guys both help each other mow each other's field, and then you can get it done in twice the time.
Yeah.
And back in the day, they used to have like 5 people out there mowing, because all these pastures we have out here,
Yep.
this is literally how it used to be done. And then it makes you self-reliant. So you're able to rely upon yourself. You're not reliant upon, I think we're going to get into it in the next slide, but it's always good to touch on it. You're not reliant upon the gas line infrastructure. It's very important. The benefits in staying small. Get to know your land very well. You don't miss out on priceless observation that would otherwise be overlooked if you were more spread out. I work on a farm, they have a large amount of vegetables in production, and their crops are amazing, and it's all organic. They do till, and they use only their sheep's and cow manure. But I just feel like being so spread out, like I pick up on certain observations, and I'm just like, oh wow, like they're not even seeing that. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just so spread out. They got so many other chores going on, the animals to take care of. It's a lot, and I respect it. But when you can stay more small, it truly is of benefit. If you know your land better each year, you can grow more food each year on the same amount of space. No crazy mortgage or loans. Smaller properties are easier to pay for in full. Or you can work out a land share agreement like I have with the woman that I have my garden at. It was previously a mowed lawn, as I stated, you know, potato farm, cow farm, hay, now mowed lawn for 30 years. So that's like 150 to 200 years of just compaction. So she gets crops in exchange for me to have the garden there. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. And there's many people like that out there. You're not reliant upon machines, which means all of your work can be done with hand tools. In terms of actual farming, you are 100% self-sufficient and not reliant upon the gas line infrastructure. Besides for transportation of your goods, unless the delivery spot is within biking distance. So I think that's very cool to touch on. If you could work out like a small little urban neighborhood setting, you know, bicycle deliveries are possible if you have some community markets or a co-op in town. Yeah, but if we don't like to go there, but you know, if it went there, if for sake we couldn't get to the gas station, we couldn't get to the grocery store, right? Because all these larger farmers, they're reliant upon the tractor. They're reliant upon the electricity for their harvesting machine, for the DeWalt drill that, you know, hooks up to their baby green harvester. So if all that's out the window, on this system, you're still able to farm, you're still able to get your fertility. I think that's of high value. So the biodynamic calendar, I have the book right there. Feel free to take a look at it. I think I have the page bookmarked. But so the biodynamic calendar, yeah, I have that right there. Just take a look at that picture. So we have leaf days, plant on leaf days, harvest on root or fruit days for best storage. We have flower days, fruit days, and root days. It really makes a difference. Until last year, as a picture right there of carrots planted on a root day, the nice straight ones, and right next to carrots not planted on a root day. Yeah. And you can see it right there. So this is stuff that's been researched for long, who knows how long they've been doing this. Probably there's nothing new under the sun. But so Maria Thun, and I forget the other homie's name, but there's the Stella Natar calendar. I'm butchering that. I know I'm not saying that right, but there's the biodynamic planting calendar, and there is the biodynamic year book that you can get on Amazon or wherever, a bookstore. Try to not get it on Amazon. And then yeah, the biodynamic calendar. It literally, I didn't bring, that's the one thing I didn't bring, but it literally has every single day, like if it's a root day, fruit day, leaf day, flower day, and at what specific times are best for planting. So For crop production, that's a game changer, and for storage production, like, because I didn't really notice, I didn't learn this till this season, but I knew to plant leaf, like lettuce, on a leaf day, but if you harvest green, like you're not, I would think harvest leaf day on a leaf day, but if you harvest greens on a root day or a fruit day, they're gonna store a lot better. So that's pretty cool, you know? And then the thing, like I plant garlic as well. So I'm always harvesting on a root day and I'm planting on a root day. And then saving my seed each year. So if you could plant to a biodynamic calendar and save your own seed, the genetics I feel like would just become unstoppable and adapted. I don't know how the the biodynamic calendar wouldn't have any effect on the genetics of the plants, but you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Just by, you know, they would be really interconnected. So the bricks. This is something I'm not fully educated on. I have the documentary up there. I just wanted to bring up
Welcome to
the chart,
does not
and I've been watching it, so I have enough knowledge to be able to explain this chart. So bricks measures the sugars in the sap of a plant, and the chart, you know, so it'll measure from 1 to 20 plus bricks, and that determines how healthy the plant is. So, and depending on what kind of bricks the plant is, determines what insects can attack it. So aphids only attack 6 to 8 bricks. Sucking insects only attack 7 to 9 bricks. Chewing insects 9 to 11 bricks. Grasshopper group 10 to 12 bricks, and then no insects or disease from 12 to 20 bricks. So it's not the plant, it's the soil that's, you know, the problem with it. It's deficient in the nutrients, but everybody wants to, you know, think it's the plant, and that's why they spray pesticides. And then that would make it at that 1-2 bricks, like anything, you know, like he was saying, basically the grass on a golf course is 1 to 2 bricks, because it's literally being constantly fed chemicals, and like it's on a constant chain. If it didn't get that chemicals, like it literally wouldn't survive. You don't have to keep holding that if you don't want to. That's pretty cool, right? The carrot,
Yeah.
carrot thing. So so that's bricks. Again, game changer. Like, so when I see something attacking my, like I don't have a bricks meter, right? I've never measured the bricks of one of my plants, but when I see a pest attacking it, I'm like, oh, so something's wrong with that plant. You know what I'm saying? Or not the
Yeah.
plant, but the soil. But usually, like, they'll just be attacking like one leaf, and then if I snip that leaf off, the rest of the plant is able to grow through it.
Yeah.
So it's actually something that I will learn more as it goes, but it's something I'm observing on the regular, and maybe in the future I do get an actual bricks meter, and I'm able to, because I have all the notes right here. Anyways, moving on from the bricks. Appreciate you, brother. So build a new garden, and this is one of the main reasons also that I wanted to do, not only to give a deeper understanding to my practices and the benefits of them, but it's August right now. before you know it, it's gonna be fall. Before you know it, it's gonna be winter. We got like 2 months left, maybe not, you know, a good 3 months left before winter really kicks in, but you know, summer wasn't really good to begin with. So right now is the time to either start thinking about your fall garden, daikon radishes, watermelon radishes, lettuce, spinach. This homie's this homie's calling my phone.
Yep.
A lot of things you could be planting right now. Mustard greens. So everybody thinks that the season's over, but you actually have another like 2 months. So right now would be a great time to do this.